and I claimed there was nothing else I could say. Thank God it was my last week there, so it wasn't my concern anymore. I was house sitting for my grandma one weekend while she went to Florida with some of her church friends. I was sleeping in the guest bedroom next to her room. The guest bedroom always had two twin beds inside of it that my brother and I would sleep in, which is why I had sleepovers at her house. I took the
Yo, what
bed
up,
next to the
Simple
window,
Nude?
but before getting into bed, I checked all the doors, making sure they were locked. When I did get into bed, it was early, and I didn't actually go to sleep for a while. There wasn't much to do at my grandma's house. I was just on my phone for an hour or two, watching videos, texting people, whatever. That's when I thought I could start hearing someone's voice outside. It sounded like a woman's voice, saying hello.
Maya.
I left the bedroom and inched my way closer
Hey
to the
there.
front door, moving slow because I was trying to listen. It was a woman's voice, just going hello like every 10 seconds. As I got closer to the front door, I realized that's where it seemed to be coming from. My grandma's door doesn't have a peephole, but the windows in her dining room gave a clear view of the front porch, so I went over to that window to attempt to get a view of who was out there. I tried peeking out.
Just killing zombies, you know.
I guess I didn't do a good job of that, because when I looked, I did see a woman on my grandma's too, and she was looking right at me, as if she knew I was going to be looking through those blinds. Once again, she said hello, with some freakish smile on her face. This woman was older, but don't picture her as some innocent-looking, small...
Thanks, man.
She looked like she was maybe late 50s, early 60s. And something about her face just squeezed me out. I moved away from the window and thought, maybe it was one of my grandma's friends. It was midnight, though. Why would anyone come to the door this late? Why wouldn't she knock or ring the bell?
Come over here!
Why was she just standing out there going hello over and over? It was genuinely unsettled.
It is pretty fun. I'm having a lot of fun right now.
Now with the door shut as opposed to before, I couldn't hear that woman anymore. Maybe it was that, or she just decided to leave. I started texting everyone about it, my sisters, my friends, telling them how bizarre it was. But a good amount of time passed in silence, and I was starting to calm down. My sisters were telling me to call Grandma, but there was a 0% chance she was awake, and she barely ever even checked her cell phone anyway. Just like that, something broke the silence. A banging at the window. Not a knocking or tapping, banging. I felt that fierce pain in my chest area as my body entered that fight or flight mode. Shortly after the banging stopped, I heard that familiar voice say hello. With that boost of adrenaline, I guess I had the extra confidence to grab the blinds and push it up. There I was, face to face with this horrifying older lady, with only a thin layer of glass between us. I screamed at her smiling, gross face.
I've been playing for about an hour today.
And ran back outside to the living room. I looked around the house, then ran upstairs to box myself into the upstairs guest bedroom. I didn't want to actually call the cops. I don't know why. I wanted to just wait it out. I crawled into the bed in the upstairs guest bedroom and tucked myself under the covers. A couple hours later, I was still awake, and I finally only then went back downstairs to look outside each window. That freaky old lady seemed to be gone. The next morning, I called my grandma and told her what happened. She started yelling into the phone, clearly panicking and distressed. She told me how a few days earlier, she was being watched in the grocery store by some woman about 10 years old.
That's my friend Lettuce. He's telling us his story from back in the day.
I didn't entirely know whether to correlate the two or not. But when we eventually got off the phone with each other, I did have to give it a second thought. My grandma's 75, and she has lost a bit of her wits, so I do have to take some of the things she said with a grain of salt. way she yelled into the phone about the woman in the store really gave me the chills. I'm still wondering if it could have been the same person.
Yo, Lettuce is still going.
I don't know. He's out of breath, or he's not out of breath.
I know Lettuce has been telling us stories since last night, bro.
He just never runs out.
Currently a freshman at Syracuse University, which doesn't
Syracuse.
seem to stare at.
That's where that I'm Clutch guy goes to school.
So I started getting back into the
What?
dating scene.
Syracuse University.
When I found some blonde girl named
I'm
Stephanie.
Clutch. Doesn't go to college.
She also went to Syracuse.
I think
Dude,
so.
my freaking yoke, bro.
We have the same sense of humor. I suggested we go on a movie date, and she said she'd love to.
Dude, you gotta be
She told me
kidding
to
me.
meet her at some specific point near campus, and she'd pick me up. So, around 9
Lane, you're so
o'clock,
lucky. You could just
I
order.
went
Can you
to
order me
the
food,
corner of
Lane?
a normal neighborhood block, waiting for
No.
Dude.
She asked me to share my location with her, and so I did. A few minutes later, I saw a car turn down the street and start approaching me. Then it stopped in front of me, and the driver rolled down the window. It wasn't Stephanie, it was some old random guy. He asked what I was doing alone out here, which was insanely weird, first of all. Then
That
he
is
said
pretty
I was
weird.
waiting for someone. He asked if I was waiting for Stephanie. I said, yeah, how'd you know? He said he was Stephanie's father and told me to hop in so
What's
he could
weird?
give me a ride to her. I took a good look at him. He looked a little old to be her father, to be honest.
No, I wouldn't say I'm playing VO2 on PS4.
He told me you'd be picking me up.
Mainly because that game's not on PS4.
And wanted to meet me.
But I am on Xbox One.
Another good look at the man and didn't say anything. I simply started walking away in the opposite direction.
Where the
from
fuck?
His car was facing.
Bro!
He started yelling, hey, hey.
What, did you go down again?
I was just walking away.
Almost, dude. Fucking
That
Lettuce's
creates
story.
more stories to know where this could
Why don't you
potentially
buy
go.
cherry?
I heard the guy's car moving, and I turned to make sure he wasn't doing a U-turn to follow me. I breathed a sigh of relief, and we drove straight and turned left out of sight. We continued walking down the block towards campus. I got to the corner of the block, just about to make a turn, when I noticed what I was pretty sure to be the same car the man was driving.
If only my dad was
On the
here.
side of the road with the light shut off. I briefly
Sorry, man, I'm
looked
playing
into the
Mob.
window as I passed, but the glass was tinted. I tried not making it obvious that I was suspicious and continued walking. I got a text from this so-called Stephanie person saying, why didn't you get in the car with my dad? I ignored the text and continued walking. I kept looking back to see if the car would move. When I got to an intersection in the road, I turned right and then full-on booked it in the direction of campus. Surprisingly, I wasn't followed. I made it back to campus out of breath and started walking to my door.
What the fuck?
I felt like I heard footsteps following me. I thought maybe I was being paranoid, but when I heard a piece of broken glass being kicked by someone's shoe, I knew I was being tailed. I made a point of ducking down behind a van and stopping to give me time to listen for where the footsteps were coming. They were a few cars away from me. I never stopped sharing my location with Stephanie.
My console's been on for about a week now.
An old man. He was approaching from between two cars across from me.
Alright, I'm gonna go on
He
mute
said
while I'm
something that I
eating.
didn't fully understand.
Alright.
It sounded like he said, come back and I'll take you to her. He had to be like 60-something. There's no way he would catch me if I sprinted. I lost him easily when I ran and made it back to my dorm room. My roommate wasn't there, so I had no one to talk to about it. But when I lay in my bed, I got another text from that man. It was shocking. It said, you're a little piece of fucking shit. You're lucky you got away. I would have strangled your ugly ass. I still have the screenshot. I replied saying thanks for the threat, it's going straight to the police, and I blocked his number. I still have the conversation saved as evidence, and I plan on going to the police with it eventually. Hopefully they are able to do something about it. When I was 18, I had a side job as a part-time janitor at my high school at Lake Center. I would work sometimes days and sometimes nights, anywhere from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m., depending on how much money I needed. Oftentimes, I would be left to lock up the building when the older janitors had left. This was a time before the high school had cameras installed in every single hallway. So one night, one of my superiors, Tom, had to leave early. meaning I'd be finishing up the rest of my shift alone, and I'd be locking up for the night. He told me to text him if I need anything, as he always did, and then he left. I loved it when I was left alone, because usually I'd do an hour of work, and then just hang around on my phone or leave early and still get paid for the whole shift. I definitely pushed it with the things I'd get away with at that place. One of the things Tom asked
Calm
me
down, Ninja. Don't talk to the homie Mai like that.
was the basement storage. So I figured I'd do that, then just go home. I grabbed a stack of 6 chairs and started carrying it down to the basement. The lights in the storage room were very dim. It kind of sucked. The whole basement of that store wasn't exactly pretty. It felt more like a basement to a warehouse. And
Ninja, apologize.
There appeared to be a bunch of art magazines
Say
covered by
sorry.
paint plugs. You know, those
Okay.
big things that look like blankets.
Okay, bro.
It seemed all the school's art supplies were stored down here. I dropped the stack of chairs down where the rest of the chairs were stored, and went back up to the
No, I don't go to school. I work.
came back down to the chairs. I noticed one of the mannequins
I work
was exposed now. The blanket was removed from on top of it.
3 days a week, and I'm
Sure, it
off
was
4
covered
days a
minutes
week.
earlier, because it was one of the front ones. I texted Tom saying, I think someone's down in the basement. He said back, what do you mean? And I said one of the art clubs were moved. He took a minute to respond, saying no one else should be there. And I noticed something. The art club, tucked in the corner of the store, sitting outside of the light that was produced at the center of the room, was covering something, surely. I started to tiptoe over to it. When I was a few feet away from it, I realized whatever was under that cloth was moving just ever so slightly. There was undoubtedly someone hiding under there. I ran back upstairs and locked the basement door.
Oh, what the fuck?
He said call the cops, but I insisted he just come back since he only just left like 10 minutes ago. He didn't want to come back though. He told me to be a man and confront whoever was down there.
Yo, shut the fuck up for 4 seconds, Lettuce. What the fuck just happened? Yo!
You're all headed the same way. Straight to hell.
What the fuck? Where the fuck did that zombie just come from? That was some fucking bullshit, dude.
Dude, you're so bad.
Dude, where did that fucking zombie just come from?
You're so bad.
Dude, I don't even know where that zombie just came from, bro.
Why'd you mute Lettuce? Unmute Lettuce.
Whatever you're thinking,
Dude, I had to focus, dude, because if I had doubled down there, I would have thrown my Xbox out the fucking window.
Good, we could play Joe Co-op.
Yo, where the fuck? I don't know.
it's okay to drink, Weasel.
I don't know where that zombie came from. That's the thing. Like, I didn't see a zombie in the window. That's why I'm kind of pissed about that now.
My family and I are probably the biggest skeptics in the world, which is why I can't explain what happened that day. I went downstairs and my brother was in the kitchen. I grabbed a water and asked him if he believed in ghosts. He shook his
Do you
head
believe in ghosts?
and told me a story about something that he thinks may seem
Only
paranormal.
because Lettuce does.
Then I looked at him and asked, "You ever try to scare me when I came home from school?" I planned on asking that question to follow with my story.
This can't be prison
Once,
water.
he said.
It's not even yellow.
Somehow that calmed me down, and I wasn't going to bring anything else up because I thought it was some kind of closure. He continued by saying, "But all I did was shoot a Nerf gun bullet at you while you were on the computer." He didn't say that.
Dude.
That wasn't what happened to me in the 7th grade. I do remember him shooting a Nerf gun at me, but it felt inferior to what I was about to tell him. I continued to speak with him about the story that follows. It happened in middle school when I was in 7th grade and recently started off the new year.
Yo, my
I came home
fucking
that
frames
night
are
and
so
went to
bad.
Where I sat in my bed and put in earbuds to watch YouTube videos. My mom had called me to tell me that my brother would be gone or would be leaving soon to go to a friend's house. My parents also worked late, which means I would be home alone. I was a very quiet kid when no one was around because I always had this fear that there could be someone in the house with me. If I didn't make much noise, then they couldn't find me, right? Who knew that suspicion could have possibly been true? I paused my YouTube video and headed to the bathroom. My house has a very weird layout. I'll try to explain what the important parts of this story looked like. If you were in my bathroom facing the door, you could step out and take a left, and my brother's room would be to your right at the end of the hallway, which is a short hallway. If you went right, you would reach the stairway that went down and stopped.
Thank you,
because there was a
Squee.
platform in the middle, and then you would walk in the
I
same
really
direction
appreciate
you
it.
came to get lower. The stairway
Of
leads to
course,
an
Squee
amazing
comes in
house.
here as soon as I take it down.
We also have an alarm activated. If any doors or windows are
What's that
open,
mean?
a box will immediately
Nothing,
say
dude.
which door
It's
has
an
been
inside
used.
joke.
I was in the bathroom and right
Alright,
about to
peace,
flush the
Maya. Have
toilet
fun.
when I heard a loud thud come from my brother's room. I assumed that he must be about to leave for his friend's house, so I flushed the toilet and got up to wash my
Ah, I can't believe I just died there. That was
No
so
more
dumb.
noise.
Just
The
slowed
house
me
felt
down like
still,
10 minutes this round.
but I felt like I was being
This
listened
round's
to.
gonna be like 30 minutes
I
long.
turned off the
Oh,
sink and
dude.
walked over to the bathroom door to lock it. Something felt wrong.
You ain't punching my
My stomach
ticket.
started to
Not
ache from
today.
fear. I felt like I was just being paranoid. But I
Why'd you go to
also
sleep
couldn't
last
shake
night? You
the
didn't even
weird
say you were
feeling
going
in
to
my
sleep
gut.
last night.
So I waited for another
Dude, I
noise.
was bored.
I didn't have my phone on me, so I couldn't text my brother.
More than 1 minute.
He had
It
a
was
house
so
phone,
funny. It took
but
like
it made
3
loud
hours for
noises
my
when
thing
he
to
dialed,
finish,
so
and
I
then
didn't wanna
nothing
risk it.
worked.
And I heard talking, which
Oh,
was
for
definitely
that?
coming from my brother's room. But that
From
was
my
not
computer?
my brother talking.
It didn't work?
couldn't
What did
do
Mystical
it.
say?
No,
The muttering was deep and low.
he.
It sent
What
shivers
do you mean?
down
What
my
did you
spine.
say? It didn't work. You
I could
could
tell
wait.
it was a
What
voice
could he
because
say?
of the distinction of an S.
Did
or
he
a
say,
T.
damn, bro, I don't know
I
what
couldn't
it is?
understand what it was saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
And there was a slow pounding noise that started getting closer to me. It came out of my brother's room and nailed its way towards the bathroom door. It stopped dead in its tracks right at the door. I threw myself away from the door near the window, hoping that if it busted in, I could get a way to leave. I couldn't fight whoever it was since I was a weak 7th grader, so that was out of the question. I covered my mouth to keep from breathing loudly in case they didn't know I was in the bathroom. Then they continued to walk. I could hear them making their way to the stairway, and then it stopped. I heard a loud crashing noise from what I thought was the middle platform of the stairs, and then again at the bottom. Then the muttering stopped, and the loud pounding made its way to the door. I heard the door open and close, and I heard the alarm go off for the door as well. I didn't know if it was safe or not, so I made my way to the door and rested my hand on the doorknob, still covering my mouth. To the left of me, towards the ground, is a laundry chute that led to our laundry room. If someone were to get from the main floor to the laundry room, it would definitely take over 30 seconds. About 10 seconds after the door opened and closed, a vicious jabbing noise pounded at the small laundry chute door. I stood there in awe, not sure what to do. It sounded like someone took the end of a broom and reached up there to stab at the door. I watched as the pounding of the door vibrated the small laundry chute door, hoping that it wouldn't bust open. Then it ended. I waited in the bathroom for what seemed like an eternity, and then quietly crept to my room to call my parents. No one picked up, so I waited for them to get home and held my door handle to make sure no one could get in, since I didn't have a lock on it. When my parents got home, they didn't believe me. Soon after, my brother arrived, and he doubted me as well. Telling this again to my brother made his mouth drop. He continued to tell me that he used to hear things come from the attic that used to open up in his bedroom. I will honestly never forget that day. Me and my brother can't figure out who or what that was, and I try not to think too hard about it either. I still
Dude,
don't
this
quite
is
know what
crazy.
happened.
I know he
I'll never
is.
know, but I want to.
He's
How
a
did
wild
we even
child.
play this, bro?
Dude, one day he just came in here and started telling stories and like...
He didn't even say hi. He just started talking.
Bro, I don't know why I'm playing so fucking stupid today, but if I take another
With
down...
my mom in a crappy Bronx, New
On
York.
110, I need to like go get coffee
Living
or
in the Bronx
something
was
because
definitely
I'm
an
like...
experience. Not a good
I'm getting
one.
stuck everywhere.
Always sketchy characters around, usually scary
Being
to
a
walk around at
dumbass.
night, small apartment, and creepy neighbors. I don't mean that as an understatement. Our apartment was the second to last one in a hall on the 7th floor, and our neighbor, the owner of the last apartment in the hall, seemed to always be sitting outside his door, sitting on the windowsill. He would always make a point of looking at me when I entered the apartment, even when I would be with my mom. My mom told me to stay away from that man. We never even knew his name. He was a black man in his 60s, very little hair left, but his remaining hair was gray. He always had the same emotionless expression on his face when he looked at me. And then one day, it started. Every time I would see him in the hall, he would say hi to me, but he'd call me by my name to make it even creepier. I wasn't exactly sure how he got my name, but I never asked. There was one night that my mom was working the night shift, so I'd be home alone all night. I came home at like 9 p.m., and the neighbor was as usual sitting on that windowsill, as if he didn't have anything going on in his life. As I unlocked the door, this time instead of saying hi to me, he asked me if my mom was working tonight. Here's where I look back and cringe because of my own stupidity, because I foolishly nodded yes. He didn't say anything after that. He just slowly nodded his head. I didn't say anything else either. I simply walked inside and shut the door. I had enough of his creepy ass for one night. Basically, after getting home, I just washed up a little bit. I had a snack, did laundry, and took a shower. As I was in the shower, I heard a weird rumbling noise. It was a pretty concerning noise, but I couldn't even begin to try and pin out what it could have been. I got out of the shower after hearing it because I was concerned someone might have been in the apartment. I heard a similar noise outside of the bathroom. It seemed to come from my bedroom. I threw on the clothes I had in the bathroom and searched my entire room. I couldn't find a person, but while searching my room, I saw an ever so tiny hole in the wall. I got closer to feel it and look at it. Then I got down on my knees to look through it, and when I saw what was on the other side, I fell backwards because of how scared I was of what I saw.
An eyeball.
It was someone's eye.
Oh,
Someone was actually looking through that hole from the other
dude.
side.
I just realized Lettuce turned into a
This
girl.
wall separated
Yeah,
our
I know.
apartment from the creepy neighbor's
Is he
apartment.
trans?
I
Yeah.
had a sudden realization of what that sound I heard in the bathroom must have been. I ran back to the shower and felt all around the wall until I found another hole, identical in size from the one in my room. The neighbor drilled these two holes, maybe even more, to spy on me. I called my mom and told her, and as I was on the phone with her, there were knocks on the apartment door. It was the neighbor, and he kept yelling, "Open the door right now. I didn't drill those holes." My mom freaked out and told me to call the cops, and she tried to get home ASAP. One good thing about the Bronx, police response time is fast, and there were cops at my apartment door in under 5 minutes. My mom was home half an hour later. My mom pressed charges for stalking, invasion of privacy, and criminal mischief. The apartment building also evicted the man and patched up the holes at the man's expense.
I don't plan on giving up anytime soon.
I'll never forget the time my friend Hal and I went camping. Hal is an Eagle Scout and nature lover, so he's always going out on these camping trips. One time I decided to come along and see what it was about. He went with his at-the-time girlfriend Maya. I received a last-minute invitation.
Maya.
We carpooled together.
Whoa.
And arrived to the destination 3 hours later.
Taylor was
Hal
there.
doesn't believe in
I
going
know.
to campsites because it doesn't give the real camping experience when you're surrounded by other people. So he took us to some random dirt trail off
Glitching-
some
oh, this
dead
glitching
road
thing
that he
is
seems
so
to know
cool.
about.
I don't
We
know,
drove
man.
down this dirt road in the woods for a couple minutes until he seemed to be content with where we were. Then he put the car in park. It was such an inconspicuous place to stop that I wasn't even aware at first that we were getting out there. Hal unloaded the trunk. Most of the stuff we brought consisted of tents, sleeping bags, food, toilet paper, and first aid equipment. Hal said he usually packed a lot lighter, but was making this an easy trip for Maya and I, whatever that meant. Once we found a good place to set up camp, Hal basically assigned us tasks. Setting up a tent was one thing I knew how to do, so Hal told me to set up the 2 tents. Maya stayed behind with me and kind of helped with the tents while also unpacking some of the supplies.
Damn, Lettuce
Hal
was
went
stealing
off to
his
find dry
girl.
firewood. He would come back every so often with a couple pieces of wood. Nightfall came quicker than expected. Thankfully, Hal had collected enough wood by then to start a nice fire, and the tents were pitched. We sat by the fire, drinking and reminiscing about old memories, most of which Maya was not in the picture for. I imagine she got tired of hearing our drunken, nonsensical stories because she went to her tent before Hal and I. So, Hal and I stayed up for a little while longer, now being a bit quieter and keeping the laughter to a minimum as a courtesy to Maya. I finished my last beer, and I was definitely feeling it by then. We chatted for a bit more, until Hal told me to shh and listen. I heard it too. There was walking out in the distance, beyond the area at which the fire lit up. Hal assured me it was likely a deer. When I naively asked, what if it's a bear, he reassured me that a bear would not come this close to a campfire or the sound of people. I asked him if he was sure about that. He didn't answer, though. The footsteps seemed to be going in circles, getting ever so slightly louder with each passing minute. When the footsteps got close enough, we started to hear a disturbing noise. It was like a clicking, growling type of noise.
Wait, was that your stomach?
Yeah.
Hal didn't answer. He just motioned for me to get into the tent. I did what he said. I got into the tent that I pitched for myself. I believe Hal got into the tent that I pitched for he and Maya. The clicking noise outside was getting more and more clear, and it increasingly became obvious it was not the sound of a wolf, or a bear, or any kind of animal I could imagine. It didn't even sound like something of this planet. The light from the fire outside cast an eerie glow onto the walls of the tent, and I had to cover my mouth so that I wouldn't scream when I saw the shadow on the tent walls of some horrific, huge, bipedal thing walking past my tent. The footsteps were so slow, but so heavy. I moved away from my tent towards the direction of Hal and Maya's tent. The next thing I remember, besides waiting in absolute horror, was Maya's scream. She
Sorry, that was
screamed as if
Brenda.
something were about to kill her. I didn't know what was happening, but I heard Hal screaming outside, "Run," over and over. I heard the two of them hurrying away outside, so I rushed outside and followed. We ran in the pitch black, no flashlights, nothing, and yet we still knew we were being chased by something. Footsteps followed close behind me since I was in the back. By some miracle, Hal managed to lead us right to the car, and without looking back,
Bro,
we all
was
got
that
into our
Billion or
respective
Jason?
seats, and Hal floored it
Yeah,
down the trail.
he was trying to play
Hal
co-op.
drove down the dirt trail for about half a
They
minute
didn't want
before
him?
we came to a dead end.
No, they didn't.
He had to somehow turn his pickup truck around now, in this dark forest, not too far from where we were being chased. I urged him to turn off the lights so that whatever was chasing us wouldn't see us. He insisted he needed the lights on though so that he wouldn't hit any trees trying to turn the truck around. He shifted from drive to reverse, over and over. Meanwhile, I sat in the back seat biting my nails and clenching my teeth, looking around the woods outside, terrified that I might see that thing from our campsite. At long last, Hal got the truck completely turned around, and he once again stepped on it to get us out of that forest. We left everything at that campsite, at least $100 worth of equipment, but there was zero chance of us ever going back there. What caused Maya to scream was heavy breathing and something pushing into their tent, trying to rip it open. Hal still says he's never heard or seen anything like that in his life. He still has no idea what it could have been, but it definitely walked on 2 legs. How do we know it wasn't a person, you might ask? Simply because of its size and the noises it made. I think everyone has one truly horrific, unexplainable experience in their lives, and this was ours.
Let's see how they like this.
Yep, still grinding.
Yo, can you rap, Lettuce?
Pale face dust around me. Eyes looking like round 3. Cup looking like nosebleed. Only sipping nice codeine. Dash rider, we said shot it. They said you see in my center, got it. Bottom lurks, snakes up the lake. Ball and chain, ain't no escape.
Alright. Oh, I thought you turned it off. I was about to cry.